This week has been quite intense for Novo Nordisk and Hims & Hers shareholders, with intense stock price fluctuations following Novo Nordisk's 2025 full-year report, sending the company down by 20%. Now, after this report, Hims & Hers said that they would be releasing a Wegovy pill for $49 a month. This sent Novo Nordisk stock further down, accelerating this decline. After this, Novo Nordisk reacted by taking regulatory and legal action against Hims & Hers. So it wouldn't be hyperbolic to say that this week has been very intense for me as a shareholder, with Novo Nordisk as my biggest position and Hims & Hers as my smallest position. Now, seeing as I own both of these companies, I think it would be quite relevant to give my 2 cents about this situation and hopefully offering a bit of nuance. Now, a lot of people seem to think that this situation is either the death of Novo Nordisk or the death of Hims & Hers. And there's no nuance in this dispute and no nuance in the frameworks that people use to analyze this situation. Now, I'm here in this video to offer a bit of nuance, saying that both companies can basically coexist. Both companies have huge total addressable markets to address, and in the short term, they will hinder each other, but in the long term, they would actually improve each other's fundamental situations. Let's get into the video. So this press release from Novo Nordisk has basically sent Hims & Hers stock into oblivion, with a lot of different people saying that this is either the death of Novo Nordisk or Hims & Hers. Now, it says here that the action by Hims & Hers is illegal mass compounding that poses a significant risk to patient safety. Novo Nordisk will take legal and regulatory action to protect patients, our intellectual property, and the integrity of the US gold standard drug approval framework. So Novo Nordisk will basically sue Hims & Hers over this situation. Now, when being asked about this situation, CEO of Novo Nordisk, Mike Dustar, said that Hims & Hers customers would be wasting $49 when they spent money on this, because Hims & Hers and the Wegovy pill that they have doesn't include the snack technology. Now, regarding this snack technology that only Novo Nordisk has, it says here that only Novo Nordisk manufactures an FDA-approved Wegovy pill formulated with snack technology, which facilitates semaglutide absorption when administered orally. So this presents an issue for the Hims & Hers Wegovy pill. So not using the snack ingredient doesn't allow the body to fully digest this thing. But Hims & Hers has another way of countering this using liposome. It says here in Hims & Hers press release that the new compounded semaglutide pill is formulated to protect the active ingredient during digestion and to support absorption. So this is what the snack technology does for Novo Nordisk, right? This is what allows your body to absorb this pill so that you can actually use it, right? This innovative delivery method empowers providers to tailor treatment specifically for patients averse to needles or who are looking to help balance side effects. So this is the liposome technology that Hims & Hers uses. The issue with this is the lack of trials backing it up, or no FDA approval. So people are saying that Hims & Hers are actually infringing not only on Novo Nordisk intellectual property, but they're also just straight up breaking the law. I do not think that the situation is as black and white as that would tell you. I do not think that Hims & Hers are infringing on Novo Nordisk intellectual property because they're not using the snack technology, but on the other side, they do not have FDA approved research-backed reasons for bringing this pill to the masses. So a lot of people would suggest that they're either stealing, just copying medicine, while other people are just saying that they're straight up lying to their customers and leading their customers to waste their money. But I do think that Hims & Hers is acting in a legal gray zone. It's sort of bordering between illegal and legal. Now, knowing Hims & Hers fundamentally as a company, knowing their strategy, this is not the case. Leadership is laser focused on improving health outcomes for their customers. Their management and their boardroom is filled with experts both on law. They have Kåre Schultz on the board, who was actually in the running for the post as Novo Nordisk CEO back in the days. Now, I do not think that he would just straight up tell lies. I do not think that he's a fraudster. I do not think that Hims & Hers management are frauds. I think that they are laser focused on improving health outcomes for their customers, right? So on the Hims & Hers side of things, people are saying that either the board are frauds or incompetent, people who are straight up lying and deceptive, or either people who don't know what they're doing. Now, I do not think that both of these cases are true. I think the truth is much more nuanced than this. Hims and Hers have to play in the gray zone of legality, right? They have to test the boundaries. They have to keep on expanding the boundaries. This isn't the first time Hims and Hers are on the boundary of what's legal and what's not. They have been compounding for a lot of time. They have been using this FDA shortage on Wegovy and on Ozempic to compound these medicines, and then this shortage went away, but then they can claim that they can keep on compounding this because personalization and personalized doses work better. So that's their claim, to be able to compound these ingredients now, right? But what people are essentially claiming is that the management are straight up deceptive or incompetent. And I do not think that Hims and Hers track record is something that actually reflects this. I do not think that Hims and Hers would be able to grow their subscribers by being incompetent or by being deceptive. I actually think that their medicines do work. I actually do think that they lead to better health outcomes. Now, what they've done with this Wegovy pill, it's a very interesting way of combating and fighting this Goliath of the existing status quo of healthcare companies, right? And pharma companies. But I do not think that they would be able to grow their amount of total subscribers if they were deceptive or incompetent. I do not think that they would be able to grow their revenues if they were deceptive or incompetent. I do not think that they would be able to grow their free cash flows if they were deceptive or incompetent. The market sentiment right now is that Novo Nordisk or Hims and Hers, one of these two companies are going to die. One of these two companies is going to kill the other company. Litigation is what's going to kill Hims and Hers. Hims and Hers compounding is what's going to kill Novo Nordisk. Now, basically, I would say and I would suggest that the truth is much more nuanced than this. Now, I think both of these companies can coexist. I think that they can live in some sort of symbiosis where they actually get stronger off of each other. But this would mean that the companies would have to work alongside each other. This would mean that the companies would have to collaborate with each other. And I'm still hoping for both of these companies to do so. I do not think that litigation would kill Hims and Hers, because Hims and Hers fundamentally is a company that democratizes access to healthcare at scale and makes it more available. So them getting sued and them having to pay a penalty would not kill them, because they will continue to keep on improving health outcomes for their customers. It would be tougher for them to share those economies of scale with their subscribers if they would have to pay heavy litigation prices. I'm aware of that. That would be very expensive for them, and that could hinder them in the short term. But in the long term, we all know that Hims and Hers management is focused 10 years, 20 years ahead. I do not think that they would do anything that would be straight up illegal, because this would hinder their ability to share economies of scale with their customers. I do not think that Hims and Hers management is incompetent, doing something that would be straight up illegal, doing something that would lead to them being demolished and destroyed in a legal case. I do not think this is the case. This management team is very long-term focused. They wouldn't just release this to improve short-term profits. What they're doing is having a long-term focus on building a healthcare platform that democratizes health at scale. And I do not think that litigation suits would kill a company like that. Litigation and lawsuits are very natural for pharma companies, for healthcare companies, and that's just something that they have to navigate. Now, when you invest in a structurally destructive company, you have to be fine with litigation. You have to be fine with lawsuits. You have to be fine with them doing things that hinges between what's legal and what's not. You're not an expert on healthcare, and you're not an expert on legal matters, just as I'm not an expert on healthcare and I'm not an expert on legal matters. But I think condensing these cases and condensing these theses into their simplest forms will help you navigate these times of trouble as an investor. For Hims and Hers, that thesis is that they're a platform that democratizes and makes healthcare available at scale at a cheaper and cheaper price. For Novo Nordisk, it's not that they are a company that can be condensed into the Wegovy pill. Novo Nordisk is a global production company pushing the boundaries of what's possible for medicine, pushing the boundaries and being innovative. They are not just a weight loss company. They're one of the biggest companies in diabetes. They're one of the biggest companies in healthcare, right? They have these two massive growth trends to grow into. I do not think Hims and Hers compounding the Wegovy pill would kill Novo Nordisk, because Novo Nordisk is a global production and research platform that can actually distribute and produce these medicines, right? Hims and Hers wouldn't be able to produce these medicines at the same scale as Novo Nordisk is, and they wouldn't be able to actually discover these drugs in the same way that Novo Nordisk is. Novo Nordisk is wonderful at what they do, discovering drugs, producing drugs, selling drugs, making them better, optimizing them all the time. They've done this for 100 years with diabetes and insulin, and they're doing it now with obesity medicine, right? This is very simple. Hims and Hers is a platform that democratizes health at scale, making it cheaper and making it more available. So they democratize access to healthcare at scale. Novo Nordisk is a global production platform. A litigation suit between the two wouldn't kill him. Hims and Hers compounding Wegovy, compounding obesity medicine wouldn't kill Novo Nordisk because Novo Nordisk has the scale to produce and meet demand. Hims and Hers is fundamentally different, and what they're doing isn't something that will disrupt Novo Nordisk. These two companies are actually quite synergistic and could feed well off each other. If you think of Hims and Hers Labs platform, making health more available, building some sort of ontology on your health, on your status of health, that would actually mean that you would be more likely to consume more medicine, right? You would be more aware of what sort of medicine you need. You would be more aware of your health issues. You would basically be more aware of what's wrong with you. When you're more aware of what's wrong with you, you're more likely to consume more medicine, right? You would know, oh, I have diabetes. You would know, oh, I need these GLP-1s. So you would consume more, which fundamentally just improves Novo Nordisk's position if they feed off of this, if they actually engage in a collaboration with Hims and Hers. This is my opinion, right? I do not think that the truth is so black and white as the market presents. I do not think that this situation will kill both companies. This is very extreme. This is very heuristic-based thinking. This is the easiest conclusion to reach. That Hims will kill Novo Nordisk because they compound their products, not taking into account Novo Nordisk's ability to actually mass produce these pills, to actually mass produce these drugs, to keep on innovating, to actually distribute them. That fundamentally just discounts this whole part of Novo Nordisk value creation thesis, right? While this other thing doesn't see Hims and Hers as a platform that increases and democratizes health. It views Hims and Hers as a platform for compounding obesity medicine, which can be destroyed by one litigation case. A bet against Hims and Hers is a bet against democratization of health. A bet against Hims and Hers is a bet against your long-term health. Now, I've made multiple videos about Hims and Hers, saying that Hims and Hers is a company that will actually be able to sell you a longer lifespan as a service. So a bet against Hims and Hers is a bet against a very bright future, right? Hims and Hers is by their nature and fundamentally just a very disruptive company. And Novo Nordisk and other pharma companies will have to fall in line with the future. I think Novo Nordisk is in a situation where they would actually need Hims and Hers in the future, where they would actually benefit from doing collaboration with Hims and Hers in the future, in the same way that Hims and Hers would benefit from doing a collaboration with Novo Nordisk, being a distribution platform, being one of Novo Nordisk's many distribution platforms. This doesn't lower the value of Hims and Hers. This actually increases the value of Hims and Hers and increases the value of Novo Nordisk medicine, because you would take more medicine with labs. You would be more aware, right? You would be more in tune with what's wrong with you. Not just Novo Nordisk, but also cancer medicine, all sort of different medicines. You would just be more aware of what's wrong with you. Hims and Hers as a platform improves because they offer you more verticals, right? They just spawn verticals. They keep on adding to their services. I do not think the truth is as black and white as the media and as the market presents. I do not think that Novo Nordisk is gonna die because Hims and Hers is compounding Wegovy. I think Novo Nordisk is fundamentally in good position to actually meet demand and be able to produce this medicine at a high scale, being able to lower prices in the future. Hims and Hers is a platform that can distribute health at scale. They can make you more aware of what's wrong with you with labs, making you more susceptible to actually engaging more with big health companies because you would take and consume more of their drugs. These companies are by nature very synergistic. And I think they would actually benefit by collaborating with each other. Now, if they don't collaborate with each other, I still do not think that the companies will kill each other. I've presented this case in my video, right? So Novo Nordisk will not die because Hims and Hers compounds medicines. Novo Nordisk will keep on pushing the needle of what's possible because they are a global development and distribution platform. Hims and Hers is a platform that democratizes this health. Hims and Hers is a platform that democratizes health at scale. Novo Nordisk creates the medicine, and Hims and Hers distributes access to healthcare at scale. Now, obviously, they can both survive without each other, right? But I think they would be stronger collaborating with each other. So those have been my 2 cents on this situation. Now I'm looking forward to learning much more about this. I'm looking forward to actually seeing what's going to happen. I do not think a lawsuit will destroy Hims and Hers because Hims and Hers is such a bright company. It has such bright potential. There are so many things that this company could actually do in the future, so many verticals that they could get into. With labs, they just fundamentally improve their position as a long-term actor in healthcare. With labs, they're improving their position as the global platform that democratizes health at scale. Novo Nordisk is a global production and discovery platform that produces medicine, discovers medicine, and sells it and distributes it at scale. With each other, collaborating, they could fundamentally improve each other's situation, but I still do not think that the case is as black and white as people think. I still do not think if they don't collaborate that the companies would die. I think Novo Nordisk would keep on improving their medicine, moving the needle, distributing medicine through other sales channels than Hims and Hers, while Hims and Hers will keep on compounding and creating medicine and democratizing it at scale. Now, this total addressable market is 2 billion people. 2 billion people. I think both of these companies can survive and thrive in this situation. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one.